Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our wonderful partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. Kent Swanson, Craig Stout, and Maddie Lane together on a Wednesday. It feels good to have the 53-man roster announcements behind us, all kinds of things. And it's good to be with my friends. Maddie, how we doing?
Listen, we're doing a lot better today. We went to a different car dealership yesterday, and surprisingly, they acted in a complete opposite demeanor than the one from Monday. Shocking. Guess which one we bought a car from? Not
the one from Monday.
Yeah. We had to go back to the Siaka Ika car dealership because of the way we were treated there. It was so great. We're doing a little bit better today. We're doing a little bit better. Unfortunately, I also have to buy a new entire AC unit. Not great. So that's unfortunate. Thankfully, it's like mid 80s this week, so we're not completely dying, just half dying. So that's the update on me. But no one's here for how I'm doing or how it's going for me. Everybody is here to talk to the one, the only Kent Swanson. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, but really, what I'd like to know is how Craig Stout's doing.
I'm doing wonderful. A, BS, Maddie, I care. B, I'm not going to tell you what the temperature is out here in Colorado. I am wearing a hoodie for those that are not watching.
Hey, it's about to get down to 68 degrees tonight. So,
oh, buddy, I don't think we've had our house shut in 2 weeks. It's been just absolutely gorgeous outside here.
Just let anybody roll in there.
That's true. It's a good thing anyway, happy to talk football with you fellas. We're not doing 7 minutes with Craig this week because we have a significant amount of news to kind of weed through. So trying to go back and review a preseason game from last Friday just doesn't make any sense. We should all be talking about the 53-man roster and looking forward. So that's what we're going to do today instead of the normal stuff. So I'm excited to do so.
I thought we were going to talk about the Taylor Travis announcement.
That's what I meant by significant news. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were clarifying.
How many minutes did you guys spend on that on Monday?
It hadn't happened on Monday.
Yeah, I know. But how many minutes did you spend on Taylor and Travis on Monday?
0.
Oh my goodness. What are we even doing on this podcast anymore?
I know.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. This is the wrong show for us to be trying to burn minutes here. We got so many other things minutes can be burned on. I am actively falling asleep over here.
Maddie is the one trying to move the show along. That's how much we've got to get through.
Really?
Anything else?
Okay. Anyways, I think we should have kept 7 minutes with Craig.
I agree. We should have definitely kept 7 minutes with Craig. It would have been a great bit to have it on there.
And it could have just been Taylor and Travis talk is what we should have done.
Could have been.
I unmuted you.
But it isn't.
I unmuted myself. That Taylor Travis announcement feels like 72 hours minimum ago. And it was
a month. 3 months. I genuinely thought it happened on Monday. I know I covered really well, guys. I could tell that you all could tell that I covered that really well, but I genuinely thought that happened days and days and days ago.
It feels like it. Maybe it's just because the 53-man roster has been released since then. And by the way, even bigger news, Rashee Rice has been suspended for the first 6 games of the season. That feels like 3 days ago as well. I think we've all been anticipating it happening for the longest time. I still kind of felt like I didn't think that it was going to get to a ruling. I didn't think they were going to get all the way to the end of September. And actually, I kind of figured that they were going to settle. It kind of seemed like that was where this was heading for a long time, even when it was initially announced. And here we are. The Chiefs are going to be without Rashee Rice for the first 6 games. Right before the announcement is made, the NFL leaks that, they are pushing really hard for 6 games to look like tough guys and all this kind of stuff and, wield their force when really this has been negotiated behind closed doors, I'm sure, for the last month plus. But here we are. 6 games is the final ruling. Rashee Rice will not be fighting it. He will not be trying to reduce that. That is the number that we are going to be getting. Maddie, initial thoughts on Rashee Rice's 6-game suspension?
seems, I guess, about to be roughly what I would be expecting, right? I think when everything was breaking down, this is about what I not what hoping for, but was I kind of expecting to come down from the league. It's a little weird when you really start to dive in and look for similar situations, how Rashee Rice, a non-repeat offender, is getting significantly more than anybody else with a similar kind of incident. But I don't know. At this point in time, the optics around it were bad enough that I kind of understand the NFL stance. I also understand why, hey, Rashee Rice and his team decided, 6 seems fair to us. We're going to go ahead and take that deal rather than continuing to drag this out any longer. So, I mean, I'm glad it's done at the beginning of the year. I don't care about the quote unquote harder part of the schedule. While it would be nice to have Rashee Rice for some of those big games, I think it's vastly more important to have him continuously building his role back into the offense moving forward to the playoffs. So yeah, 6 games at the beginning of the year is probably would have been like you told me that 2-3 months ago. But like, yeah, that seems fair. And about what I would expect.
Yeah, I always thought it was going to be 4 to 6 games. So it's at the higher end of what I expected. I know we've been through a little bit of a roller coaster since then. There was a little while where we thought maybe it was going to be less, and a little while where we thought maybe it was going to be a lot more. The whole September 30th date was always something that was thrown out there. Very much felt like, hey, if we let this get to September 30th, we have no idea how long this is going to be. We have no idea when it's going to go into effect. There was just so much of this that was going to be left up in the air. And the entire time Maddie was talking, I was busy searching the internet for Mike Florio's apology for, he claimed that this was a conspiracy theory, the whole September 30th thing, and that Rashee Rice getting to play against the hardest teams in the NFL and then getting suspended for the quote unquote easy part of the schedule. I was looking for that. You know what? I don't find a whole lot of Mike Florio apologies out there, just, especially around the Chiefs. I don't know if anybody else has picked up on that, but anyway, that's beside the point. This is what I expected for Rashee Rice. I know the comparisons are there for other people that have done similar things and the like. I think what you need to know about the NFL is there's a video of Rashee Rice, and that matters a lot to them. The optics of this are what they are. We've talked about it multiple times. They don't want their athletes out there street racing, putting people's lives in danger in vehicles and things like that. They are trying to crack down. We heard when it first happened that they were going to try and throw the proverbial book at Rashee Rice, and the video being out there and being circulated in wide circulation with the Chiefs being a high-profile team. It's not a surprise to me that it's at the higher end of that 4 to 6 games, but I'm glad it's done. I'm glad they can move forward. And again, I think they were prepared for something like this. It's not catching them off guard. And I think that they're going to be prepared to go the first 6 weeks of the season without Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I think they clearly the roster is built to be prepared for that absence, right? They've got several players that are at the receiver spot to insulate themselves there. But I do, like this, we've seen this team without Rashee Rice. We really haven't seen much of Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown together to this point. So there's some hopefully meat on the bone there, and we've seen this team survive without their star receiver before. It hasn't always been pretty, but I do think that, there might be a little bit more help on this roster this year, both up front and in that receiver room that can help, maybe try to help with that issue with Rashee for the next, first 6 games of the season. And it's not the end of the world if they start a little bit slow because of this either too, right? Like obviously you want the 1 seed again, but we've seen this team. They needed 16 games instead of 17 last year to get the 1 seed. They got. I know it's a tough schedule, but I just trust this team to take care of business the way that they have the last few years. Can I ask you guys one thing? Because I've been thinking about this Mike Florio thing forever, and I don't want to give him too much time. But here's the thing I have a hard time with Florio is like he posts all this clickbait stuff. He gives all these takes, or someone with PFT is giving all these takes. But every single year, Andy Reid does an interview with Mike Florio at the Combine. Mm-hmm. How do we like? It feels weird to me. Like maybe like I'm not defending or caping for Florio even a little bit. It's just so bizarre to me that like Andy doesn't seem to care about a single thing that Mike Florio's ever said, because it seems like Andy Reid gets in interviews with Mike Florio every single year. And I don't understand how that makes sense. It just does. It breaks my brain every time I see it. I don't get
what do we think that Mike Florio's getting out of that interview? What do we think? Like let's talk a little bit about what head coaches do in interviews. We not that we have a ton of experience with this, but you do the interview. It is typically very surface level. It's the BSing around after the fact or before the fact, where you're getting and building those relationships and bridging those sorts of things. Do we think that Andy Reid is doing that with Mike Florio in the same way? Or do we think that Andy Reid is feeding him lines of bullshit the entire time and hoping that he's running with it? What do we think that Florio's really getting out of this?
So first of all, Andy's just like me, not caring a single thing what Florio says, could care less, don't read any of it, don't care. It gets Chiefs fans so upset. I don't know why they still read anything that comes across that Twitter account or anything else. Like that one, I don't get. He has zero substance. Like, just stop reading it. I think that's what Andy does too. Second, I think Andy, the few times that I have come across, like when Andy says stuff, I'll go search it out. When it's with Florio, I'm not saying it's like the deepest interviews, but like he gives him the same interviews he gives everybody else, which isn't a lot of stuff. But like it does seem like there is some level of cordial relationship between the two, which is odd. But at the same time, like I just don't think Andy cares what Florio says. I really don't.
That's kind of what I have a hard time about, because like Andy Reid's not obligated to talk to Mike Florio. There is no obligation for him to do it. And if he was really beat up about all these retirement rumors all the time, I feel like Andy would just be like, I'm not talking to that guy.
Or is Andy feeding him the retirement rumors to make him look bad? Who knows? I'm just saying. Maybe that's the case. It always just blows my mind. It just always blows my mind. Like,
okay, Andy's going full Saban or Kirby Smart, feeding Florio a bunch of garbage to write that they can post in the Chiefs locker room to get them fired up. That way he doesn't have to print fake newspaper stories saying they suck. He's got an actual source saying they suck. The undefeated team doesn't have to print newspapers saying that nobody believes in them while they're undefeated. He actually has somebody saying it. Okay, so
they don't have a fake newspaper budget, so Andy's got to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, they gotta save up for new chairs.
They don't have a fake newspaper budget. What? I mean, yeah, I'd assume that from the Bengals, but the Chiefs
fly in their own Ring of Honor guys. We know that.
Here's a discount code to a hotel. Boomer Esiason. Bengals legend Boomer Esiason. I have a coupon code. You do have to create an account with the hotel first to get it, but
they were going to put him in the stands. They were not giving him a suite. They said you can have 2 tickets and you can buy a third if you want.
Which row do you think he was sitting in?
He was in the 300s for sure. There's no way they put him in the lower bowl.
300 row 55.
Insane organization.
Ring of Honor, by the way,
which they established in 2021. They just established that. The pandemic is older than the Ring of Honor. I'm sorry.
They didn't want to call it a ring. They wanted to call it a bracelet of honor because bracelets are cheaper than rings.
That's not bad, kid.
I know.
That's not bad.
I know. It's pretty good. Pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
That was kind of bad. Now the tuxedos are kind of weird.
Not super proud of our 53-man roster prediction.
Actually, what the heck was that, Kent? You did a terrible job.
I literally
nice work, guys.
I don't think anyone can. I don't think there's anyone on this planet that had what the final 53 or the initial 53-man roster.
I had one of them right.
You did have one of them right. And actually, you know what? We'll just lead with this. We're not getting 7 minutes of Craig. I would like the music to play so you can just brag real quick about the one thing you got right with the 53-man roster, but you can't talk until Tucker plays the music. There we go.
Oh, yeah. We're talking a little Cooper McDonald, the only backup linebacker who knows where he needs to be, coaching Joshua Williams on the field as a rookie on where to line up. Made some splash plays, set the edge, made a couple run stuffs, had a sack. Yeah, he's a backup, Sam. I can hear it already, Maddie. You don't have to say it. I know. But one of the only competent backup linebackers that we saw. Yes, I know Jeff Bassa is out here, and I do truly believe he's going to contribute, but there's a lot of room to grow there. Spags wants to play smarts. He's got a guy that supposedly, we haven't seen it, but we supposedly are hearing that he can play Will, Mike, and Sam. Big dude, plays the run well. One of the few backup linebackers that look good. I have been saying all along, I think that guy's got a shot to make the 53. And I was possibly the only person in Kansas City that was not surprised to see him actually make the active roster.
That was an abbreviated 7 minutes on McDonald with Craig Stout.
Just like his entire snap count for his career is going to be, because he's a backup Sam with a roster spot. You have the most limited position in all of football that already has the prototypical Sam of all. You have the most Sammiest Sam that's ever existed in Leo Chenal. And you're like, oh yeah, there's a reason we should get a backup to that guy so that if he ever gets hurt, we're going to play him for 3 snaps, half the snaps we would actually play Leo Chenal in a game.
Key ingredient to making the base defense go. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that guy certainly wouldn't hang out on your practice squad for a while because teams are clamoring for backup Sams.
He's the straw that stirs the base defense's drink if Leo Chenal gets hurt.
Correct.
I mean, come on, Maddie. Also, I think you're remarkably short-sighted, Matthew. Remarkably short-sighted. No. This is a contract year for Leo Chenal. Who's playing Sam in 2026? Who?
Anybody. Literally anybody.
I'll tell you who. I'll tell you who.
McDonald.
Cooper
McDonald. My Sam. Guy, Cooper McDonald.
The only argument that could have been made that would have swayed me was if Josh Williams has to play, he has to be out there to tell him where to go. The only argument that I would have stood for was he's on there to direct Joshua Williams.
Josh Williams handler.
Everything else makes no sense. You could have gotten him off your practice squad. Listen, I'm with Craig. I agree on everything Craig said about him flashing. I thought he was by far the Chiefs' best backup linebacker during the preseason. He made the most plays. They were all versus the run because they wanted nothing to do with him in coverage ever. And were sending him to rush. They were sending him to rush on every coverage opportunity they possibly could. So they did not want him in space, which is fair. He does not look as good in space. I just thought that was a crazy roster spot, was on a player of that ilk, not the player, not the person, but that particular type of position.
Seamus says, Maddie, the Jets
good
him too.
No, we could have traded for him in 2 years.
No, I don't want. Listen, Brett Veach is learning from his mistakes. If you let these guys go, the Jets pick them up, and then you trade for them later. Just hold on.
They currently have the Chiefs' better linebacker and Esapol.
Guys, I'm getting some news here. Cam Jones has been acquired from the Jets for a conditional pick swap in 2026.
Jesus.
So they needed another linebacker on this roster. Let's be honest. They needed another one of those out there. Speaking of trades, Derek Nottie is the Chiefs' starting nose tackle.
Only.
And only nose tackle. Let's get into that a little bit because I think people want to hear about Mike Pennell, Derek Nottie, all of this. Like that seems to be like there's tons of Rashee Rice. There's tons of other conversations about the 53 going on. That's the one that everybody's just kind of rumbling about under the surface right now. It's like Mike Pennell played all preseason as the starting nose tackle. The Chiefs go out and trade for a guy that they let walk and go to the Jets for practically nothing. And then they trade for him later on this offseason and immediately cut their starter and the guy that was playing in preseason as nose tackle for Derek Nottie. What are your thoughts here, guys?
Well, there's still only one. There really is only one nose tackle on this roster right now. And last year, Derek Nottie and Mike Pennell both played about 30 snaps each last season, if I remember, somewhere around
30%, you mean?
30. Did I say 30 snaps?
Yeah, 30 snaps. Yeah.
30% of snaps, of course. That's they've got to have more bodies there. Now they've got Marlon Tuipulotu on the practice squad. They got Broderick Martin, who was a fun player from Western Kentucky a few years back, on the practice squad as well. But as far as true noses are concerned, they've got one. And I think they've got the one that was the worst of the two last season, the one that the Chiefs didn't pick this offseason.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why, we're sitting here and maybe the Mike Pennel news is coming down the pike sooner rather than later. And like, this means nothing, but you would think you would have some movement here on Mike Pennell's return to the roster. And there's been no news to this point.
Well, I mean, let's theoretically, the Chiefs like to do this. They like to cut veterans that are not going to go through waivers to come back on like a little, hey, we have this deal set in place where you're going to come.
Anticipate.
You're going to come right back, right? Well, maybe they tried to have something like that done with Pennell. Maybe that was their theory and what they were going to do here. Maybe that kind of pissed off Mike. Maybe he wasn't a fan of them being here all training camp, literally going is he the oldest player on the roster?
Yeah.
Close to it, right?
No, is he older than Kelsey?
Winchester's the oldest, I think.
Okay. Well, one of the oldest players on the roster goes through all of camp. Literally, he's been here every single day. Down in, down out. As we said, the only nose tackle. Every time they run the ball, he's got to be in there because they don't have literally another functioning body to play nose tackle. He's out there every single time. He's playing in that second preseason game in Seattle in the swamp with all the backups. He's the one taking on all these this run heavy attack by the Seahawks. And then she's like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to cut you and probably bring you back for as little as we possibly can. I would be a little pissed off too. I would understand if he's maybe a little pissed off right now, seeing if somebody else would like his service instead of having to come back to the Chiefs. And if this turns around to bite the Chiefs, boy, what a wildly stupid offseason decision process this has been. Not only do they only keep one nose tackle who is aging, you cut the guy that you just traded for because you didn't like what he was going for. By the way, his contract for the Jets was nothing. You could have easily paid him if you thought he was worth keeping around the first time.
You said minimum?
Yes. And then you go out and you sign a 3-tech in Jerry Tillery. You go draft a 3-tech that you're trying to turn into a more versatile defensive tackle in Omar Norman Lott. What was the ultimate plan here at any point in time? Like, you can tell me that nothing went according to plan with this, but like, what was the plan if it results in trading for Derek Nottie, who you let go for a vet minimum deal?
I mean, that's really what I'm struggling with here. It would be one thing if they took a bunch of bites at the apple at nose tackle this offseason. Again, draft a guy, do something like that isn't Omar Norman Lott, to be clear here. Omar Norman Lott, 3 technique. They're trying to get him to be able to play both. I get that is the eventual plan here, but that's a lot to put on a rookie. You're changing positions. You're putting him in a spag scheme where there's a lot there. So expecting that a rookie is going to switch positions, start and play in a big role, and that is not going to be a very valuable thing that you need to be counting on. I don't understand what the thought process was all offseason around the nose tackle position. I get that it's not that important, but it is important. This defense can't go without somebody that can occupy space, take up bodies. Drew Tranquill is better when he's able to run, shoot gaps, blitz, be able to get into the backfield, knife into the backfield. We saw nose tackle play take a step back last year. Drew Tranquill didn't look particularly great. He didn't look great in some other roles either. Nick Bolton is not a stack and shed linebacker. That's just not his forte. He is a guy that slips, times his runs into the gaps, everything like that, really ridiculously well post snap. You need to keep him clean. That nose tackle position is what makes those guys that you are investing this money into go. So you can't just say, hey, we'll throw something together at the last minute and hope that it's going to work. I like Derek Nottie. Derek Nottie is an awesome person, and Derek Nottie has done a lot for this franchise over his career so far. Whether you believe it or not, he has done a lot for this defense. He's not the same player that he was before. And so now you're staring at the middle of this defense. They've made pretty good decisions all around with who they're keeping, what they're trying to do. I kind of like the starting 11, but that spot right there in particular, you just look at it and you go, boy, it just nothing all off season. And then you trade for a guy that you told wasn't good enough so that he can go sign a vet min contract somewhere else. the whole process is just really confounding to me.
I think a lot's been confounding over the last couple hours here, last 24 hours. So we've got this the wildest 53-man roster I think I've seen since I've been doing this. And I remember watching the last preseason game, and you listen to the broadcast and they're like, yeah, Cooper McDonald maybe making this team. Jason Brownlee maybe making this team. 4 tight ends. And like, I know Bob Tanya's not back yet, but
he was at practice today and Rashee Rice wasn't.
Right.
Just throwing that out there.
Not technically, whatever. And I was when I was watching the broadcast, I was like, how? Like, if you want, how are they doing this? Well, it's because they kept 8 wide receivers and technically 3 tight ends. They got a couple moves coming. Elijah Mitchell makes the team. Rashard Smith makes the team. A lot of just like very heavy on the offense for the initial 53-man roster too, by the way. I think there's 22 defensive players currently on the 53-man roster. 22, 3 specialists.
I'm counting while you're doing this. Go ahead. Yeah.
16, 18.
I'm looking at yeah.
I think it's 24.
Is it? Who am I missing?
It's pretty balanced.
Well, I mean, 2 players. If you're going to name the 22 that you know, I can tell you who you're missing. I don't know who you're missing if you don't name them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can read them if you would like me to.
Are you missing Malik
probably? Malik Herring and Malik Herring, Cooper McDonald, and Josh Williams. Like, those are the 3 that I think most people would have been missing.
Yeah. I've got. We're not going to list them all. Okay, fine. 24. We'll just call it 24. I trust you implicitly.
We got that right.
I'm just looking at it. I'm
actually counting 27, Kent. Who do you believe more, me or Maddie?
Maddie. Weirdly. I don't know. You could have 27.
Hold on, Greg. Who are we missing? Who are we missing?
Kent?
It's 27 defensive players and 8 wide receivers. Yes, you're right. We got it. We're good. Yeah, my bad. I'll show you what I was looking at later. You can tell me what's going on. Anyways,
don't look at that anymore.
Clip that. Somebody clip that.
Tuck is, I think, actively clipping it.
Okay, so I'm going to save us here. We talked about Cooper McDonald, which is one of the more surprising people to make the 53-man roster, despite what Craig wants to say. We also, you mentioned it, Jason Brownlee. It's kind of wild. That's an 8th wide receiver. That's a 26-year-old wide receiver who ran a 4.6. We also got Elijah Mitchell, who I don't think showed really a whole lot during the preseason, wasn't really getting any run with the first team. And as the preseason went on, felt like he was getting pushed further and further down the running back depth chart. Jared Wiley makes it. Now, it does seem like kind of the Chiefs did the vet thing with Bob Tonyan. I don't know if they legitimately said you have to get one or the other if Jared Wiley makes it over, but I still think Jared Wiley making it was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, who really sticks out to you guys as I really like that one's the one that really put me on the heels the most?
I'll let you go first, Kent.
The one that put me on the heels the most was Jason Brownlee. Like that.
He's one of the 2 defenders that you didn't even have on your list.
Well, yeah, that was jarring as well. I think Brownlee surprised me, just because there's the numbers of receivers already was just so jarring. And then you're expecting 7, and I know Rashee Rice, we're anticipating the suspension, but 6 is plenty, especially when you're looking at the offensive line and trying to figure all those things out. That one was the one I think that was the most surprising to me. I know he had a nice fade route in the first game of the preseason, but I did not see that one coming at all.
I mean, the thing that I keep, and we'll see how this shakes out, but the thing that I keep looking at here with the suspension of Rashee Rice, with Jalen Royals being hurt, there's several conflicting reports out there. Who knows what we're going to get out of Jalen Royals? If both of those guys are out, Jason Brownlee makes a ton of sense all of a sudden. If you've got Jalen Royals as an IR designated return, they don't have to make that declaration right now. If Mike Pennell is hanging out and they're just waiting for Jason Brownlee to move Jalen Royals to IR, Jason Brownlee, like all of that makes sense over the next couple of weeks. If we get to week 1 and this team still has Jalen Royals, Jason Brownlee, I understand Nico Remigio. I understand Tyquan Thornton. I understand the 3 starting wide receivers. But if they've got both of those guys still on this roster, I start to ask a lot more questions about why they prioritized that, why it was that. I have liked what I've seen out of Jason Brownlee. He's tough. He's tough as hell. He took several big hits during the preseason, held onto the ball. I get why a team could like him. I just don't, the Chiefs have done a good job of like layering like for like individuals over each other. And I don't think he's like for like of any of these guys. He's not particularly explosive. He is a bigger guy, but he doesn't have speed. They've layered enough of these different types so that they don't have to change the offense when these guys get in here. This could just simply be a case of them just liking what they saw out of the guy. But over a guy like Asa Pole. Is it Pole or Pole? I don't know. I've heard both people or both names there.
We're gonna go Pole.
Okay.
No, I think Craig should go with Pole.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Listen, I heard Joshua Briscoe call him Pole earlier today.
Pro
so I'm just
Football References says Pole. Pole is how it's listed.
Look at that. Look at me clarifying.
I would like to make an announcement. Our lads lists 12 positions on their defensive depth chart instead of 11, and so I was taking 11 and multiplying it by 2 essentially.
Mm-hmm.
There's 12, so there's 24
so how you don't look at too many defensive playbooks or depth charts?
Yeah, he doesn't. That's true. But I look at some of the rest of this. Like I would have liked to have another developmental tackle under Andy Heck here, just taking swings with guys that look decent at this point. They're doing a good job of drafting guys for traits and trying to develop them. Why not try and take a guy that looked pretty good in the preseason and it looked like he was going to come back to the practice squad? If you read Sam McDowell's timeline, I think there is a lot of angst from the Chiefs over the fact that Asa Pole got poached by the New York Jets. I think that there is some hurt feelings over there. They certainly thought he was going to clear and make the practice squad. They had that announcement queued up, and then right after the deadline, Pole was notified that he had been picked up on waivers by the Jets. They certainly got it in time. So the Jets did everything right. They just hadn't notified the player yet. That one is probably the one that hurts on offense specifically the most of guys that aren't going to end up back on the 53-man roster here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I don't know what the decision process there was, thinking that, again, an older wide receiver without much production that could run a 4.6 is unlikely to hit your practice squad, but the rookie, very athletic offensive tackle is. And like, I get it, he went undrafted. They both did, actually. But like, again, he was undrafted, so teams passed on him, but he now put tape out there. So like, I don't know. I am not surprised that the Jets, a team that was relatively early in the waiver wire, was able to get Pole off of the waiver wire from the Chiefs. You could spin me a story that Brownlee, they wanted another wide receiver if Jalen Royals goes on the IR or isn't expected to play soon, and they obviously knew this Rashee Rice suspension was coming down. I just don't know if there's going to be much of a difference from Brownlee or any player you could slap up off of somebody else's practice squad, or if he doesn't make it to your own. That's where I really don't get that one. Similarly, Josh Williams, surprised that he made the roster, but with Najee Johnson going on the IR, I can at least hear the rationale for why they wanted the bodies. The one that doesn't make a ton of sense to me because of what we've heard, why Elijah Mitchell, right? Like, you had 3 other running backs. You cut him over Carson Steele, and I'm not going to argue about who's the better player or not, but like, is there a significant difference between the two? Carson Steele obviously makes it back to your practice squad. You also bring back Clyde Edwards-Helaire to your practice squad, or are trying to. Like, I don't know. I was a little surprised that they decided to keep Elijah Mitchell and risk some of these other players as well. So yeah, just some interesting decisions for this 53-man roster, and I guess we'll see who all they come back.
Feels like a bunch of. Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Well, I will say I don't know if we have any more cut down thoughts, but I do know we blew right past the time we need to take a break. So we're going to do that, and we'll come back to this if we need to right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
What's good, everybody? It is Benny Heiss, KCSN betting analyst, and I just want to let you all know that it's okay. You can take a slow, deep breath. Inhale and breathe out with one word: football. You feeling it? Yeah? Did you take that in? That sweet, sweet scent of grass and pigskin in? I'm ready. I hope you're ready too, because we're going to have an absolutely awesome season once again together. And especially for all of you in the state of Missouri, get your popcorn, get your phones ready, because the wait is almost over. You can taste it. It's coming, people. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming. You say, show me. I say state. Later this football season, everything that you love about playing on DraftKings Sportsbook, sides, totals, spreads, props, same-game parlays, you name it, DraftKings Sportsbook is going to elevate your already great game day experience here with KCSN. And even if you don't get in by kickoff, no sweat, besides the promos on DraftKings that they offer as well, there's live in-game betting, payouts, faster than Xavier Worthy hauling down a bomb from 15 on the sidelines, all right from the comfort of your phone, wherever, whenever. You'll be betting with a top-rated sportsbook that is safe, secure, and trusted by millions of Americans across the country. Now, here's what you do. Follow your guy. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Be sure to use code KCSN as you get ready for sports betting to launch here in the state of Missouri. You're going to be the first in line for exclusive promos, can't miss offers, much, much more. It's code KCSN. That is KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on a Wednesday. Craig is vibed all the way out.
He was not ready for that ad to end when it did.
I was not. I was enjoying
He was waiting for Tucker to pop up there in the suit jacket with different outfits.
Oh yes, 1,000.
It didn't happen, yes. And he was caught with his pants down.
I enjoyed hearing Bullshit. Benny too.
Audio listener, you got to get there.
Good to see Benny. Good to see Benny back on the network. But yeah. Any other cut down thoughts, gentlemen, before we move on? I know Maddie's got 8.
No, Craig said he had something on that.
No. It was just a little quick thing here. I think that they're just taking lots of stabs at running back right now. I get that not everybody's thrilled about Clyde Edwards-Helaire being back, but he's a practice squad guy. If he doesn't work out, he's just on the practice squad. Not a big deal. You know, they've got Carson Steele on the practice squad. I feel like we're just going to see them ride with whoever is the hot hand for a period of time, to the point where I think we're going to see a lot of these guys for the first 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know that the Chiefs are done with the running back position this season. Them having so many bodies in the room tells me that they don't have confidence in very many of them. It's not like, oh, well, we're protecting ourselves against injury, or it doesn't hurt to have this many guys. this also feels like, hey, show me what you've got and prevent me from making a mid-season trade for, I don't know, Breece Hall or Travis Etienne or somebody, like they could have kicked the tires on those guys and gone, that's a little steep for us. Let's try this out for a little while here. And they've added so many bodies. They have 6 guys, including the practice squad here, that have gotten run with them or are young players that they're trying to see if they can get some run out of them. I don't know. This just feels more like, hey, let's try this on for size in the early parts of the season and see if we need to add a guy more than it feels like, oh, we love all ththese guys so much, we want to keep them all.
I also wonder, I think I saw something today about Brashard Smith's role. And Brashard may not be like a traditional running back. Like
another wide receiver.
I say we've kind of speculated he's like a DAT
9.
Like kind of, what is he? I don't know. So I think there's a little bit there.
You know what he is? He's a player that now has a significantly better jersey number as he has switched to 24. Great for him. And Tyquan Thornton, now that him and Joshua Williams made the team together and he couldn't keep his number, he goes to number 80, which is also an upgrade. I mean, like I'm okay with Thornton taking an upgrade 80. Any outside wide receiver in 80, 2 thumbs up. If you don't like wide receivers in 80 that play on the outside, I mean, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah.
I like
both of those guys had jersey upgrades.
2's a good number. 2's a good number for a wide receiver. If you're going to play on the outside, 80 and 88 are like classics. You can't go wrong with those 2 numbers on the outside. You can't. 2 doesn't beat it.
Like 2, but Josh Williams has 2, so it doesn't really matter all that much. So as we sit here, the initial
LaMichael Pirine's available too if they want to keep adding running backs. That's what I wanted to say that too before the jersey thing. Craig said they want to get guys with a hot hand. LaMichael Pirine out there available.
That's a free agent, right?
Yeah, reunion.
Well, we're gonna talk about some free agent candidates if you'd like.
Do you have some? Do you want any? Who you got?
As we sit here at the 53-man roster, 8 receivers, now down to 7, kind of a little bit wonky. Looking at how the roster is constructed, what could you make a case for adding some free agents here? Defensive tackle. I think is Raekwon Davis still out there? I feel like Raekwon Davis is still out there.
Oh, he might be.
And at this point, I think with Davis, like at this point, there's always a few players every single season where you ask the question, like, why is he out there? Why is he still out there? What's he doing out here still? Raekwon, it makes me wonder if there's some kind of injury thing, because like I think he's good enough to be on a roster right now. I think he's good enough to be in a lot of rosters now. So like you start to have to question whether or not it's like a health issue at this point. Like I think the same was like with Asante Samuel Jr. recently. It seems like he might be trending towards finally coming back, but he was having some issues as well. But Raekwon Davis would be like one that like he'd just be a nice interior defensive lineman still available out there on the market. Like I would like to see him, still only 28 years old too.
I mean, I'm also looking at defensive tackle a little bit there. Morgan Fox, Sheldon Day, but it's Christian Wilkins. If he's healthy, all of a sudden a lot of these interior moves make a lot more sense. Like if the Chiefs have just been waiting to sign him, land him, end up with him on the roster, a lot of my questions about the nose tackle position and the rotation and all of that, they go away, completely go away if he's healthy. So yeah, I'm looking at defensive tackle as well. I'm also looking a little bit at cornerback, and it's very situation dependent here. We got to see Trent McDuffie play in the slot in preseason week 3. I know it's something we've all been clamoring for, but he actually played in the slot. Christian was out there. Jalen Watson was out there. Now, he resumed playing outside. Jamari Conner played a little bit more in the slot. So they were clearly trying some stuff on for size. We have kept clamoring for Trent McDuffie in the slot. If Trent McDuffie is not playing in the slot, give me Mike Hilton yesterday. I understand that Miami Dolphins defense is terrible and that secondary is terrible. And anybody who gets cut from the Miami Dolphins secondary should absolutely not be on an NFL roster right now. That being said, Mike Hilton is different. Very cerebral player, plays the exact way that Steve Spagnuolo wants his slot to play as well. So if you do not have confidence in your ability to shift Trent McDuffie inside, give me another guy that can play there and can play there regularly. Our buddy Nate Tice on Football 301 talked about how the Chiefs gave up the most yards from the slot last year in the passing game. The most yards from the slot. I know it felt that way to most of us, but to hear it said out loud, the most yards from the slot. Give me somebody that can play there if you can't play Trent McDuffie there. If you're moving Trent McDuffie inside, I don't think a cornerback move is necessary at this point. I am still worried about the depth, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that the move becomes quite as urgent if you're playing him outside. Christian Fulton is just rotating in outside. Give me Mike Hilton.
Yeah, I think Hilton's a great one. I would have led, I think, with that one. If the goal is to not have Trent McDuffie play in the slot, I think you get him. He's not what he was a few years back, but he was still solid to good for the Frog Goals defense last year, and a defense that was falling apart. He is protected a little bit in the slot and the way the Chiefs run their system. Still an excellent run defender. So like, you don't worry about him just getting run off the field. Can't be worse in coverage than what the Chiefs had in the slot last year when it wasn't Trent McDuffie. So yeah, Hilton would have been a good one. There's still a handful if you're willing to pay a little bit of defensive ends that weren't necessarily cut, but Zadarius Smith still available, Jadeveon Clowney. If you want some defensive end help, there are guys available. Hey, Javon Baker got waived by the Patriots today. Has to clear waivers to get to the Chiefs. Hey, keep signing those waived and cut Patriots wide receivers. Bring them on over. Bring them over. We can make it a 3-for-3. I'll take that. It's not even like a reclamation project. That was a terrible, terrible team he was on last year. It didn't work out. Like, just get a new start. So I would take a Javon Baker over here as well.
On the active or the practice squad?
If it's him versus Jason Brownlee, give me Javon Baker because he can run.
Okay.
Special teams.
I mean, I think you take him on the Taekwon route. You put him on the practice squad this year, and then next year.
Sure. I'm fine with that too. I'm not against it, but like, if the option was, hey, you can put him on the 53-man roster or not get him, I'll put him on the 53-man roster over Jason Brownlee. I don't.
Okay. I'll hear it.
Can deal with it.
No, he can't. That's why
Cooper
McDonald's on the team.
He can't be a gunner.
Absolutely it is, because he's a superstar player in waiting.
You thought we were done ranking top 10 things, didn't you?
Heck,
folks? We're not.
What a transition.
We're not. We're gonna do whole offenses and defenses before the season starts. And with Craig here, we knew we had to do the top 10 top 10 defenses. Like, we had to do that. Like, that had to happen. Of course it did. So let's do that. The top 10 defenses for the 2025 season. These are projections for where this year is going. That's what we've been doing this week or this year. This entire summer has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it, and actually, I've enjoyed Maddie's tears and what he's named more than anything. I tried real hard this week to throw a few things out there. So we'll see how this goes. Let's start with our top 10 defenses. I don't remember how many tiers I have. I think I have 4.
I have 4.
Same.
Perfect.
Look at us. Matching tiers.
Look at us.
Oh,
cute.
Look at us. Let's I guess we'll start with Craig.
Awesome. Love it. We're going to go with individual studs, but a complete group is the name of this tier. Number 10, the Detroit Lions, and number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like various pieces of each of these defenses, but I have questions about them as groups. For the Lions, if Aiden Hutchinson is healthy, he was outrageously good before he got hurt last year. I mean, it was so good. He was really good. Carlton Davis out there with DJ Reed, pretty formidable. Brian Branch on the back end. I like Tyleik Williams a little bit. They got a little something going, but there are still big holes all over this defense. And I feel the same way about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the holes are just their aging players. They got a lot of names that you know on this defense, and I think that they are going to be a very competent defense, and they're going to need to be a very competent defense. And I see a lot of names that people look at and go, oh, yeah, no, that guy's really good. At some point, we're going to see the Cameron Hayward drop off. At some point, we're not going to see TJ Watt be the same guy that he is. Jalen Ramsey's over here. Like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of older guys that it's just going to take the cliff hitting for one or two of those guys. And now all of a sudden, they're no longer a complete unit. So I like various pieces of both of these defenses. I think that they're going to be good in top 10 defenses this year, but there are big gaps in both of them right now.
Tuck, go ahead and throw them on up.
Oh,
I have a 1 tier. It's called Unk Still Got It.
It's a good tier.
Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. And I think, yes, like I think that's the theme for me. It's like there's a lot of aging players on this defense, but they're still very good. They had good seasons last year. You're looking at, Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt. That's a great pairing up front. And then they acquired Jalen Ramsey, who I think can really kind of solidify, the back end of that defense, and also it's an aging defense in the back end as well, because Darius Slay, Deshaun Elliott, on that roster, on Juan Thornhill, like that is an older group of players out there on the back end, but they played well last year. And I think that continues. Like, I think they still got one good year of top 10 defense left, and I can't guarantee that it'll look like that next year, because that is definitely an aging group. And like, I think it's fair to say, like, yeah, there's a lot of big names in there, but I still think that they're names that can still play a little bit of football. So I think they're going to have to rely on their defense to kind of carry that team, and like hope Aaron, is fine. I think they could. I think the Steelers could be salty this year. I think they're good. I think they're going a little under the radar. I think they can be more competitive. I think they might throw a few wrenches in the AFC North this year and pull a couple of those divisional games out and really kind of mess with the standings a little bit there. And I think it'll be because of their defense. Unk still got it.
My 4th tier here. We're going to throw them up there. We have 2 new teams coming in. This is called Spags Would Make These Guys Dangerous. I ranked all of my defenses based on what Steve Spagnuolo would think about having to coach them. Number 10, we have the New England Patriots. Number 9, we have the Chicago Bears. The Patriots are tricky because the pass rush last year was abysmal, but Christian Barmore comes back hopefully healthy this year and is able to play, and I do think that guy makes a huge difference. They also signed Milton Williams, so I think, and Harold Landry, who's not great, but like I think you can manufacture enough pass rush with those guys that you throw Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, and Carlton Davis in coverage at the corner spot. Can do a lot with those other pieces. Like, they might not be as strong through the spine right now as some of these other defenses we're going to get to, but that coverage unit in particular, with 2 interior rushers and Barmore and Milton Williams that can bring the pressure, some guys with juice off the edge, I think they can be they can be friskier than what I think last year's, like, some of their play would have said. And then with the Chicago Bears, I think it's actually a pretty talented defense. They have guys that can kind of play at all 3 levels. There's not really, I think, just a straight up weakness there. You're just kind of hoping that some of the guys that haven't taken a step forward finally do. But I mean, Montez Sweat is still a very good player up front. Gervon Dexter has been very good for them as a young player, kind of flying under the radar. He's never, going to push for an elite defensive tackle, but he's been solid all year. Dayo Odeyingbo was a good signing. I like Jalen Johnson to be healthier this year. So yeah, I got the Bears up there as well. I could see them actually, of these 2 teams, jumping up to another tier or 2 if everything kind of clicks for them. But they do have some guys that need to take a little bit of a jump and improvement this year. Montez Sweat has to be better. Kyler Gordon has to be healthier. Jalen Johnson has to be healthier, which is the big question because, some of those guys haven't always been healthy.
All right. Throw out my next tier called I Believe in the DC. Number 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 7, the New York Jets. And number 6, the Vikings. Honestly, any of these defensive coordinators, I'm lumping not just Steve Wilks, but Aaron Glenn in for the Jets here. Any of these defensive coordinators, I fully and completely trust implicitly to run a defense and be extremely competent, field a top 10 defense. I want to be clear here. Steve Spagnuolo is number 1 in my defensive coordinator rankings. This is not a judgment of him being, quote unquote, worse than Brian Flores. Spags is going to will this team to a top 10 defense. It does not matter who the roster, who they have on there. They've got guys like Chris Jones. They've got guys like Trent McDuffie. They've got guys, even, Nick Bolton, George Karlaftis. They are going to play a significant role. Steve Spagnuolo is going to make this defense good. There will be a top 10 defense. I do believe that, regardless of the negativity that I have had about the Chiefs defense this offseason. The New York Jets have some excellent player. Quillen Williams, Sauce Gardner, but it's what Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes. I really, truly believe that they're going to be so good this year. Last year, they went through a rash of injuries. They were outrageously talented, and I do believe that they're going to unlock that. And then Brian Flores, you look at this Vikings defense, there's pieces you like. Jonathan Allen was an awesome signing this year. I like Javon Hargrave a little bit there. They got a lot out of Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. The secondary is a little shaky at spots, but it really hasn't mattered. Brian Flores, you ask anybody that's out there, he is the hardest defensive coordinator to play against right now because he just brings everything all the time. He's so unpredictable, and it makes them a little bit boom or bust, but it makes them such a scary defense when it boils down to it. So that's my 8, 6, 7. It's all revolving around the defensive coordinator for this tier.
Yeah, I got very in depth with my next tier as well, and how I kind of framed it. So Tucker, you can throw it up. There's no I in team, but there is in Bills at 9, Giants at 8, 7 Lions, 6 Niners, 5 Vikings. Literally just an I in their name. But I do think this is like a. I think this is a. I do think this is a tier of.
Kent, you know what? I'm going to tell you something, buddy. The bit is better if you just leave it. I'm just saying.
My next tier, this tier is called Spags Eats Here, and this is the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked about the Steelers. I don't need to go much in there. If this was like a 4-year prospect, yeah, I'd be a little scared of the age of some of these guys, but for this one season, I think the Steelers defense actually is going to have a chance to be like really, really good, assuming that guys can stay healthy, and that's always an issue with age. And the Packers are tricky because they're not as strong as some of these other ones, but they can throw waves of athletes at you from all different positions. And if you have a good defensive coordinator, you can kind of do a lot with that, right? Like if you have, I went a little bit differently. I wasn't trying to include my defensive coordinator specifically in some of these because I approached it from like, what would Spags do with them, which is not the proper way to, there's no proper way, but which is not the only way to do this.
One guy did a tier full of names with I in them, Maddie. I don't know if you got that a second ago.
True. I think this is kind of like, I think this defense will be a lot of fun. They're going to throw waves of guys, waves of athletes at you from all different angles. So I think the Packers are kind of like an up and coming defense. The problem is they're all B pluses. Where's my A's? Besides Xavier McKinney, who's playing safety, but we've kind of seen where safeties are right now. Where are the other A's on this team? It's a lot of B pluses, but I mean, it's a lot of them. So I feel fun. I think the Packers are going to be feisty.
Can I just at least talk about one of my I teams?
Fine.
I'm like, I have teams every year that I kind of want to watch a little bit, like just fascinated by. Maybe it's not like entirely rooting for, maybe it's not like all in on, but curious. The New York Giants. I think they're going to be very interesting to watch this year.
Number 11 for me.
Their defensive line's incredible. Like they've got Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter is a very fun group. They got Javon Holland in the back end too.
That's good signing. Who's playing corner?
Yeah, I mean it's Alston Adebo, it's Deontay Banks, and it's Drew Phillips.
Who's playing linebacker?
It is Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden.
I know. I love that defensive line. That is
so good.
It is the best defensive line in the league. It absolutely is the best defensive line in the league. But man, I got so many other questions about it. But yeah, I like that pick a lot.
It's just such a great start off point.
It is.
It's literally,
it really
they might have the best. I think they have the best defensive line in football. I legitimately think that they might.
We'll get into this. I got some takes on that, but yeah, I'm not going to push back too hard on that for sure. Yeah.
Anyways, that's okay. The bit's over. Also, Niners could be a lot of fun with Robert Saleh and a bunch of U's on there. I think that could be really interesting.
I think they're going to be hurt.
That could be
I
true.
I have some qualms with the 49ers defense. They did not make
me too. Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
mine either.
Well, Craig, you can just show us your next tier then.
My next tier, young superstar defenses. Come at me, Broncos fans. Number 5. Then the Ravens at number 4, the Texans at number 3, and the Seattle Seahawks at number 2. Honestly, there's not a big difference between any of these teams for me. I could rank them all at 2 and have a very good justification for this. I do think we are going to see a little bit of a step back for the Denver Broncos. I feel like they really did an excellent job. They've got a lot of crazy studs on that defense that are going to be around the AFC West for far longer than I would like them to be. But I think they're not going to be the head and shoulders above everybody else that everybody is projecting them to be at that point. I think they're going to be in the same tier with an excellent Ravens defense, a really, truly excellent Ravens defense. Kyle Hamilton got paid. That is very well justified. He's one of the best defensive players in the league right now. The Houston Texans, that is another just absolutely elite defensive line as well. Plus, you got Derek Stingley back there in the secondary. I think Azeez Al-Shahir is a very good football player as well. I like what they've constructed down there. But the Seattle Seahawks, man, I love what they've built. They've got ass kickers all over that defense. Devon Witherspoon may be one of my very favorite non-Chiefs to watch in the NFL right now. They've got Reek Woolen back there. The entire defensive line is just full of guys. Leonard Williams has a career resurgence. Byron Murphy looks excellent up there. They are going to be incredibly difficult to run on, to pass on, and Mike McDonald just I think we've seen it now long enough. We have enough examples of Mike McDonald being really, really damn good at game planning, finding weaknesses, and finding ways to expose the opposition's offense that I am now to the point. I am like all in on the Seattle Seahawks defense here. I think they're going to be outrageously good, and part of the reason why they will end up being a playoff team this year.
All right, let's throw my next tier up. I just classified this as all with ease. No. Scary, but for each for different reasons. So, like, I have the Houston Texans at number 4 and I have the Baltimore Ravens at number 3. I think with the Texans, elite defensive line, I agree. That's what you hang your hat on there is just 2 monsters coming off the edge, both sides for the Houston Texans. With the Ravens, I think their back 7 could be incredible, especially their secondary and that the multiplicity, the versatility that affords them. It's not that they have slouches on the defensive line either. But the most of their strength is guys along the interior. I'm more intrigued by their back end than I am front. Their front. So both of them are good, and I think you saw the Ravens make strides as the season went on. Still wasn't good enough. Still no rings. LOL. But very, very good. And I think an elite defense in the National Football League.
My next tier is Steve Spagnuolo would have way too much fun with these rosters. Because listen, we've talked about all of these. Have we talked about the Eagles yet? I don't think so. So I guess I'll talk about the Eagles. The Vikings, Craig talked about it. The secondary isn't great, but they can do so many different things with the players that they have that are really good blitzers, good rushers. If you get even one of Jonathan Allen or Javon Hargrave returning to even 95% of their prime, that defense becomes super scary. I think Craig did a great job outlining where the Seahawks win. I think bringing in somebody like DeMarcus Lawrence was a fantastic signing because that gives them an excellent run defender. I don't need him to do a single thing versus the pass. Just go in there and be an asshole versus the run, set them up in 3rd and long, and let the secondary cover guys in the pass rush get after it. So I thought they're very good. The Ravens, the Ravens do the Ravens thing. They just draft all the super talented guys that fall, and maybe they don't all work out, but when I get a throw out there for my curveball gets to be some of these guys that we want to be gone in the first round, some David Ojabo types coming off of there as your rotational guy. This is the guy that Mike Green is coming out there as my 2nd string pass rusher or whatever. It's pretty crazy. They add Malachi Starks back there to this back end. there's a lot of talent there. The Philadelphia Eagles, they lost a lot. They lost a lot on that defensive front. They lost a lot of players, but man, the safeties aren't good. They lost a lot of pass rush, but I don't know what to say. They have Jalen Carter, who I think is like one of the most dominating, game-changing defensive tackles. Their secondary combo, the combo at corners between DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, phenomenal. They can tilt coverage to either side of the field just based on their presence. Zach Bond was coming off a career year, and with no changes to that team, I don't know why he wouldn't be almost equally as good. I think that Nolan Smith is on the up and coming. They have a bunch of just body types that match what Josh Sweat has. So like, I think they're going to be just as good as they have been in the past.
All right. Is it mine? Is it my number one? It's my number one.
My
number one is overwhelming talent. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate how good they are at this. At every single level here, they just seem to do an excellent job of grabbing and developing guys. At this point, they're not as too deep as they were in previous years, and we're seeing that those backups that we have talked about, when they go well deep into games and they have to rotate guys in, they don't really fall off. There may be a little fall off there. Maddie highlighted the safeties. Reed Blankenship, not great. Sidney Brown, not great. The fact that they have Jahad Campbell next to Zach Bond is terrifying. Like they can run two high coverages all day long. They don't need to, because they got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean out there, and Keely Ringo wasn't awful. They've got enough dudes out there that they don't have to do that, but they can play in two high all game long, and it's not going to matter. They're still going to be able to stuff the run. They're still going to be able to cover everything up close there. Jahad Campbell is going to be really scary for this defense, and what he's going to be able to do as a blitzer, what he could do with stuff in the run and coverage. The rich got richer yet again. And I look at this defense, it's not going to be as good as last year, but last year was outrageous. Like, it was unreal how good this defense was, but the fall off is not going to be what I think some people, especially Chiefs fans and myself included, hope that it's going to be. So that's why the Eagles are my number one defense.
All right, we'll throw mine up real quick. It's leads the game preview show level of elite, and I think it's the Eagles and the Broncos. I'm high on the Broncos. I think the Broncos have made really smart additions to their defense. Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw into the mix with an already really talented group of defenders, but also just really good team defense. I think Van Joseph's has done an incredible job with that defense. So a ton of credit to them. I think they deserve to be up there on that list that high. They've got elite talent, and then they've also got depth, and I think they've done some smart moves, adding some stuff there. And I know the Philadelphia Eagles lost a lot, but some of their young guys look pretty good and looked ready for bigger opportunities. Like Jalix Hunt, I think is going to be I think it's going to be fun to watch Jalix Hunt. Or I actually don't know if it's going to be fun. I don't like the Eagles. But Jalix Hunt, he's good. He's good, guys. So they were ready. They were ready for some additions or for some subtractions. So there's that.
All right. My top tier is Steve Spagnuolo would go nuclear for these teams. We got the Houston Texans and we got the Denver Broncos. I think the biggest thing, the only thing with the Texans, Jalen Petrie being healthy, he gets to step down and play nickel. That's going to help the one weakness I think they had, which was their over the middle of the field, shallow coverage. With those linebackers aren't the best in coverage. So Petrie getting to step down there and play in that role kind of gives them he's not as good, but it gives them like a Tyrann Mathieu-esque type of player that can make a lot of plays down there. So I think that's big for them. Sheldon Rankin sounds like he's been a lot healthier this year, and they're kind of high on what's going to come from him. So if they get that from him, I think that kind of shores up that defensive tackle spot. So I think the Texans will be great. And the Denver Broncos, it sucks when you look through this depth chart and you're like, okay, I see some of the really good players, but I also see these guys that are just like the Packers, some B pluses. They just happen to put it all together. Do you know why they put it all together? Because they have this fella named Patrick Surtain, who is your A++. He is the guy that kind of changes everything. Oh, and by the way, that really good secondary of last year, they added Jahdae Barron to it. And I don't even know where he's going to play. They might just throw him out there wherever they want and just go make plays. Like, hey, this down, you're an outside corner. This down, you're a nickelback. And like, that sounds like a lot. And sometimes in theory, it doesn't work. But he's got a skill set that it might work. And then you add on if Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga are healthy at all, you now just added some nasty, nasty players to this defense that are very smart. Like, they're smart and they play with grit. So you take what was one of the NFL's best defenses. You make them tougher, angrier, and meaner, and then you give them one of the best chess pieces. I just see a really high ceiling for this team with a pretty safe floor, despite having, I mean, again, across the board, the D-line, they're all fine, but they had like 60 some pressures last year.
Yeah, unreal.
Crazy. And they brought them all back. They brought back every single pressure.
Jonah Ellis doesn't start for this team, and he's really, really good at this. Yeah.
Not fun.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow,
not fun.
They're number one for me. But the Texans are right there, Ty.
Oh, there's a consensus.
Oh, the flapping Eagles, man.
Jets at number 10, Niners at number 9. Detroit.
Let me count the I teams.
Pittsburgh Steelers at 7, Seahawks at 6, Vikings at 5, Ravens at 4, Houston's at number 3, the Broncos at 2, Eagles at number 1, and the Cincinnati Bengals are somehow at number 33. Don't know how that worked, but it's true. That's going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Welcome.
OH.
Bevo Strong.